Good evening. Welcome to my channel. My name is David Okon. Thank you everybody who have been helping me in subscribing, sharing with family and friends, in actually watching the videos and leaving a comment, leaving comments in the comment box and clicking notification bell so that you get new videos. Let me know what you are thinking. We talk about the cost of living. This is because the cost of living is extremely important. It may not look like now, but going forward, the cost of living is a matter of life and death. Because the cost of living is a symptom or changes, radical changes within the economic system. Capitalism is tilted towards the private sector, closing down the private sector. And as we have all seen, this is global because of globalization. Globalization is promotion of capitalism, which excludes the public sector. The public sector is being closed down. It is closed down in almost every country. If you are living in Africa, then you know your government is not helping. For schools, hospitals, even roads, sometimes in some places are not being built, houses are not being built for people who cannot afford housing. In the modern world, in the modern economy, in every part of the world, everyone should have access to proper housing, proper healthcare, education, and all the other public service infrastructure and utilities. This is missing for one reason, for one fundamental reason. The public sector is being closed down. It has been closed down already. That's why the cost of living is a crisis. The politicians may tell you something else. I'm not saying they're lying, but they have different types of responsibility. They have to make people feel good, even if something is really terrible. For you to find out for yourself, if you see that the government is not actually helping you, then you are probably right. In the countries like the UK, in the hospital, if you phone your general practice in the hospital, your general practitioner in the hospital, and you wait for more than an hour, only for someone at the end of the line to say to you, they don't have an appointment. And when you say, okay, book me an appointment, they will turn around and say, we are not going to book you an appointment, call tomorrow. And so you keep calling in, day out. You are a sick person. And if you go to accident emergency, because you can't go to your general practitioner, your local doctor, you can't go to them because they're not answering the phone. They answer the phone. They speak to you, but they don't really give you an appointment with the doctor. Simple as that. And if you go to the hospital, they don't give you an appointment. They will ask you to go back home and phone them. And when you phone them, they are not going to give you an appointment. There is something called QI, I think, QI Doctors. It's an app. It's an app used by general practitioners, GPs, hospitals in the UK. That doesn't work. You can't book a doctor. You can't book an appointment with the doctor on that. And the window of its operation is very limited. It's symbolic. The reason there is no doctor, the reason there's no health service anymore, is because the public sector is closed. It is the public sector which should actually produce doctors and also sustain them and maintain them in service. So if you close down the private sector, the country cannot produce food. the country cannot produce medicine, energy, schools, everything closes, and if it closes, the private sector cannot provide public service. As simple as that. If you want to complicate it, go ahead. Complicate it as much as you want. That's the situation, and take it seriously, because the governments of the world have closed down the public sector. Over 90% of the people are going to die. That is for sure. Unless it changes, unless public sector is reopened and corruption is eradicated from the states. Because you see, the idea of closing down the public sector is a type of corruption, which has actually gone very dangerous. Because people who are corrupt enough to even believe that the public sector can be closed down and destroyed now believe that is the right thing to do. That is, it's like there are certain classes of people, or even us as society, we have lied for so long that, I'm not talking about the government, I'm not talking about just the rich or the poor, I'm talking about everybody in a world where our culture is broken, our families are broken, societies are broken. We need to manage it ourselves. Because if we lie and lie and lie, look at your family. If you're the family, if you're a child, where is your dad? Sometimes where is your mom? More than not, every single parental family is actually a single mother, because the fathers have left, or the mother have run away due to domestic violence or some other issue. They go to the government to get shelter and then rehousing. That is stopping. Because all these things are provided by public sector. The government is saying they are providing public service through private services, and they are doing that. But they are wrong, and they should really know is that private companies are not designed to provide public sector. That's why I'm going to talk today about the financial crash in America in 2009, which created a global political economic meltdown. Destroyed global economy, and that's what happened. The U.S. government tried to provide public housing using private sector. As simple as that. I've been going through the material, and I'm inviting you to look at the rest of my videos if you can. If you cannot, then just do. You can do what I want. But what I've been saying on this video is to try my best to go through materials, formal materials written about the financial crisis, because I'm linking it with the cost of living crisis, which is actually a global crisis at the moment. And the financial crisis in America was also a global crisis. It started in America. This started in Europe and part of maybe Asia, Russia, Ukraine war, and partly COVID-19 and Brexit. All these factors, and I'm now suggesting including actually the financial crisis of 2007 and 2008. All these built up to create what is now the cost of living crisis. But you see, every time there is a crisis, whether it is involving energy costs or food crisis or whatever, even war in Ukraine, war in Iraq, Iran, Middle East, whatever crisis, the function of the public sector is to intervene during this time and provide emergency help. The government now is unable to do that. That's why the cost of living now is getting worse and worse and worse. And it's not going to get better because the government is not going to change its policy. the only way the cost of living is going to be eradicated is by the government opening up the public sector. I expect the Labour Party to be in power next year, because we are in the UK here. We are going to have an election next year. In America also, I think next year. But we have a Democrat who is actually a socialist. A socialist is supposed to be someone who supports the public sector. But I don't see Joe Biden, President of America, or even Barack Obama preceding him, to have done anything resembling promoting the public sector. They are all in it together, and they're doing what they really like to do, which is actually closing down the public sector. So we used to believe, or even to think and dream, that we are going to get some help from the Labour Party of the world, the Labour movement of the world. That is now gone. So either Labour or Conservatives or whatever, I mean, there are only two types of politics: conservatism and what do I say? I mean, there are only two types of political parties: Labour and Conservative. You may call them different things in different countries, but you have Labour, because whatever reason, those are two political parties in the world: the Labour Party and the Conservative Party. The political argument, the economic discussion is now capitalism. The political is capitalism. Whether you're Labour Party, Green, you call yourself whatever you like, but we used to have the Labour Party and the Conservative Party, which are the central plank of global political party movements. Now that is gone. What is left is now symbolic. Let's go to look at what happened in America. It's a continuation of the other video. If you get time, watch this and the other video. We're going to look at something to do with the finances. Something called financial innovation and complexity. The financial system of the globe is extremely complex. And innovation means creativity. You name it. I mean, you create something out of thin air, and you're proud of it. Whether you're proud of it or not, you're being creative. Innovative. We're going to look at what they are talking about. Financial innovation and its complexity. These are actually features, characteristics of the financial system of the world. And we also talked about the credit system, which is actually the only way of generating income. Or not even generating income, because it's just how to run the financial system is credit. You speak to young people now, they're going to say they don't want to go to school in the UK. They don't want to go to universities because of they don't want to be in debt, because you have to borrow money from somewhere. There's something called the student loan company, something like that. And in the past, when the public sector was still functioning effectively, we used to have in the UK grant. Grant means you don't pay it back. Loan means you pay it back. Young people are no longer interested in that. And they are going to do something called apprenticeship. They don't want to be in debt. The parents are under a lot of pressure, but even the loans are not enough. The problem with any health welfare support, for education, for health, and for livelihood generally, is even if it is given, is too little and often too late, because the process of actually getting these things, the process of getting this help are really complex. We talk about complexity here. And the system is complex. And including the system within the social sector, within the public sector, and the private sector. We talk about complexity in the commercial, in the financial sector. It's all complexity because they are based on laws and policies. That's it. It doesn't matter if you're a scientist, if you're a medical doctor, you are a politician. Society is getting more and more complex because somebody somewhere is trying to hide something as trying to do things behind the scene. But what I say again and again, if you don't start thinking to look after yourself, after your children, 90%, over 90% of the population are going to be extinct within 100 years or 200 years. They will not be there. And in my contention, that if you kill a part of the society, you're going to kill everybody. Whether by mistake, whether by design, whether recklessness. People, if you close down the public sector, people, they will start dying now. Some will commit suicide, others will fall sick and not be able to go to the hospital. There's no ambulance, closed down. The message government is sending is that if you're not rich, you're not wanted anymore. You're supposed to die. They may not realize it, that's what they're saying. That's what they're doing. They're killing the poor. But I say that killing the poor because they're poor, which are actually the majority, over 90% of the population, who work for a living. If you work for a living, you're poor, you're going to die. You may not die this generation or within 100 and 200 years, people will start dying of poverty. We talk about the future. That's why when I talk about certain things, don't begin to think it's going to be happening next year. People are already dying now, or because of the closure of the public sector, because the government has taken land away. Land produces food, energy, medicine, housing, and it actually provides for society. You're free. You have land, you're free. With technology, with engineering, life is supposed to be good if you own land. Because you use the machine to do everything. And obviously, machine side of the story is really impressive. Artificial intelligence, robotics, and 3D printers, nanotechnology. I keep saying this over and over because it's good to focus on those fundamentals because it's really important. And for those who actually think it is important, even if we are only two who think it is, and that's just fine. But if you think it is not important, then still watch the video anyway, if you have the time. Because you might change your mind going forward. You may hear something I'm saying and go somewhere else and hear the same thing. You may watch it on the news. Oh, this is similar to what was said on the video. On the video, it was said slightly differently. But here is the same or similar point was being made in that video. But the same or similar, you can listen to this, or you can go somewhere else and do something with your life. Take responsibility for yourself. You can think about the government if you want, because this is your country, this is your world. It doesn't matter which country you live in. Whatever you're doing with your life, it's your life, it's your world. If we had land, decades, we could have actually, or we could still develop skills to access medicine. Every tree you see potentially is a medicine, it's a drug for healing. Every tree, literally every tree you see, if you know how to use it in medicine, simple as that. Don't ask me why, because that is how life, in many ways, that's how life was in Africa. I think it still is. Even in different parts of the world, there are people who know, you have knowledge, they know how to really make natural product and cure even cancer. You can cure any diseases by using natural products, natural resources like trees, herbs. Herbs and trees are more or less the same. Trees are bigger than herbs. They're all plants. So plants are a source of medicine. Probably also food like fish. I would say meat is probably less of a source of medicine. It's merely food. Food is also a type of medicine, but vegetables, natural herbs and trees, plants. Let's say plants. Almost any plant is actually medicine. We just lost the skill. We have lost our ways because we have been doing other things. We have been doing politics, and politics brought war. We spend almost, let me say 90%, because I don't know the real statistics. You may not know the real statistics, because people have different ideas of producing statistics. You make your own statistics. You can read other people's statistics, and it's so complex. And you read over and over. If you have all the time in the world, you can read it. But sometimes you need to use your common sense in life. You need to be innovative in the way you think, like the financial. If the financial instrumentals or runners of the world finance are innovative, you also be innovative in your thinking. To try and address some of the complexity of life, and you're allowed to be complex yourself. Why not? Be an expert on being you. As an individual, we all have the potential to be really special. So you see, I am using the cost of living and all the other crises in this program to discuss life. Because we are alive. We are not dead. If we are dead, I will be talking among the dead. I talk among the living. If you are dead, then you are dead. You are alive, then you are alive. IMF is at the heart of lending and borrowing. And there's something called CDO, RMBS. These are, I can't remember what they are now. CDO. Don't worry, I will find out what they are. The term financial innovation refers to the ongoing development of financial products designed to achieve particular client objectives, such as offsetting a particular risk exposure, such as default of a borrower, or to assist in obtaining financing. So that is what financial innovation is. The term financial innovation refers to the ongoing developments of financial products designed to achieve particular client objectives, such as offsetting a particular risk exposure, such as the default of a borrower, or to assist with obtaining financing. So we're talking about a product. First of all, the term financial innovation refers to the ongoing development of financial products. So it is continuous. If something is ongoing, it is continuous. So the process is actually a process. The process is ongoing development of financial products. We talk about products. Financial products is like credit. To cut the long story short, the product is actually credit. Financial product is credit. It's a form of wealth, it's a form of money, designed to achieve particular client objectives. for example, offsetting a particular risk exposure. So risk exposure of a client can be somebody who is borrowing money, but a client can also be a lender. Because if they're exposed to risk, it means they're in trouble. The risk is causing them problems. So these financial products are designed to achieve particular client objectives. Their objective is to deal in financial products. That's their objective. Deal in financial products, such as offsetting. If you offset something, you mean you disrupt its progress. If it is cancer, if you offset its spreading, then you actually make the client, the patient better, probably a cure or a proper management. So to offset something, you have to really disrupt it. So this is what innovation, financial innovation. It's quite interesting. Default of a borrower is when the borrower is not paying back. Borrow something, you don't pay back, so you default. And that is one such as offsetting risk exposure, such as the default. So the risk exposure is actually when in this specific situation is when the borrower don't pay. That is on the one end. On the other, you are assisting somebody to obtain financing. So if you assist somebody, it's like that's why the development is actually ongoing, because the cycle is also ongoing. Like I said previously, that how we now do financing is actually by credit. So when you talk about financial innovative, in my opinion, you're actually saying in the past we used to use our money. These days we use nothing. That is innovative. We do business without money. Because you see, if something is credit, it's nothing. That's why we call it shadow financing, which produces situations of environment or actually an entity of shadow economy or shadow governance. The list is long. And if it is nothing, then that's what innovation in this concept means. Get something out of nothing. It's like being a magician. The credit financial system is like being a magician, because that is what innovation is. Innovation is like you're playing the magician trick. What you do with your in financial innovation is to produce something out of the blue, something which doesn't exist becomes something. And now that is something that's borrowing and lending. And so when you are in that situation, you look at two things. You look at people borrowing, you assess risk, and you anticipate whether or not they're going to pay your money back. The money borrowed will be paid back. On the one and on the other, you're also assisting the same client or somebody else to obtain credit. So it is going on and on. You borrow again, you deal with defaults, because there will always be defaulting. Such as in the situation of the credit crunch. The credit crunch was created by people who ordinarily would not qualify for credit because their credit rating were poor. Very, very poor, because they were very, very poor people. They wanted public housing from the US government. The US government didn't give them public housing. Instead, they asked them to borrow money. It's a phenomenon which is going global now as we speak. And part of the reason behavior where the government, instead of giving help, they ask people to borrow money, even if they cannot borrow money. And when the borrowing and lending becomes toxic, it crashes, it explodes, it evaporates and bursts. That's what happened in 2007 to 8 in America with housing, with public housing. When poor people who should have got public housing from the government were using public mechanism. The government used private mechanism to provide public housing. And that is it. I keep repeating this point over and over so that it sinks into our heads, so that we know what causes crisis, especially involving finance, because the cost of living is an income issue for the household. The financial crisis in America was also an income financial issue for the household. Households suffered then, as they are suffering now. They lost their home, which they bought with money they didn't have, credit which they couldn't afford, and they were in debt. Nobody was responsible for it. They were responsible. That's why the government is saying you should take responsibility. You take debt. I didn't have to. If something goes right, they take credit. If it goes wrong, it's your responsibility. That is the attitude of the government, and it informs its behavior, policy, and practices globally. It's not just one country. It's not just one political party. They are all in it together. This is something called political consensus. That is what's now happening globally. We are going from left through middle to right. Left, promote public sector. Middle, promote part public, part private. Right, promote only private sector. Like the current conservative in the UK, like the Republican in America, and conservatism up and down the globe. They are becoming extreme to the right. So the political argument is right wing, and extreme right wing, where the result of extremism to the right wing or the political spectrum produce the closure of the public sector, and it is gone. I believe in the resurrection. If something dies or somebody dies, they can come back to life again. That's my hope for the public sector. If my hope is forlorn, which means it's hopeless, public sector is hopeless, I hope miracles do happen. Miracles happen. Somebody, somewhere, or some groups of people with power decide to bring the public sector back. Then it's going to solve the problem of poverty overnight, globally, because there's a lot of wealth. These wealth are rotting somewhere. They're going to waste. Multimillionaires and multi-billionaires are there to throw money in the bin, to flush it down the toilet. They don't need it. They don't want it. They have it. They just don't want you to have it. And that is it. That is what capitalism means. The money is there, the wealth is there, but you're not going to get it. It's not yours. It's theirs. It doesn't matter what happens to you. That's why I also have been talking about the culture. I cannot resist the temptation to repeat this thing over and over, because it is, if you have to know anything in your life, just know those two things. The public sector is closed down globally. In Africa, in the developed world, Europe, America, Asia, it is gone. But there is hope that somebody will bring it back. If they don't bring it back, then you should get out of poverty by yourself. The 90% of the population who now work for a living, because without public sector, there will be no employment. Without the public sector, now where we are, sooner or later, there will be no employment. But without public sector, it's going to be sooner. Much sooner, within maybe 10 years, everybody will be out of work. Within 10 to 20 years, within our generation. you don't do something. And I'm not sure what you're going to do. But where there's a will, there's a way. I'm thinking about families. I'm thinking of society creating jobs for themselves. Even if the government tax them, it's okay. Remember, your tax money is taken from you, 90% of the population giving to the 10% super rich. So crises like this are designed to take money from the poor and give it to the rich. And the rich throw it away. These literally throw money away. They just dig a hole in the ground and bury the money, and the money rots in the ground. They burn some in fire. Some of them they put down the toilet and they drain it. They just throw money anywhere to waste it so that you don't get it. Leave a comment below if you think that is the definition of evil. I think it is, because that's what is exactly happening. That's what is happening. The government use crisis. I don't know how crisis happen. Even natural disaster, financial disaster, military disaster, economic, political, technological, medical disaster, pandemics. This produces crisis. The government every time use that opportunity to take million, billion, and trillions of money, giving it to the rich from the poor. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. I think that is wickedness, and it is global. Everywhere you go, it's happening like that. The pattern is the same. Globalization stage. And so I also talk about the culture. Culture means education, valuing humanity. You teach yourself, you teach people around you. If you're poor, developmentally, at least culturally, you should be rich. It's a case of changing the way you think, valuing humanity. You can hide in a cave, or you can hide somewhere. Whether you're rich or poor, whether you have access to food or not, you can think. You can always think, so that is important. Think humanity, valuing humanity. Even if you don't have anything. I believe that individuals among the rich people who are not wicked. They are because they are culturally allowed. They are culturally, should I say, compliant, because they see value in humanity. Multi-millionaires and multi-billionaires. My request: if you watch this video, if you don't watch, if you dream about what I'm saying or what somebody else is saying, think humanity, think human, value human life, and then you get your culture back, then you get your family back, you get single motherhood back. Well, you get rid of it. You come back to marriage, or even if you're not married, you live peacefully. That is the same with marriage. What is marriage? I mean, the law may define marriage the way the law likes, but culturally, if you are actually truthful to your relationship, even if you're married or not, I mean, how much does it cost to get married? And when you want to marry, how much responsibilities does the law put on the unmarried couples? It's a nightmare. If you are not married legally, which is what marriage is now, you're not married unless you're married legally. The law is a blunt instrument, including how it affects marriage. Because people are so afraid. The divorce rate is going up. A country like Britain, 40% of marriages end up in divorce. In America, similarly. And it is going up. I mean, the divorce rate is going up because of so many different issues. Money, disrespect. Couples disrespect themselves. They behave badly and they don't take responsibility. They blame each other. One person blames another person, but they are all both in it together. They are behaving badly, very, very badly, and there's no hiding these facts because of culture. I'm not talking about one person, everybody, including me. I don't behave well culturally. I'm in trouble. Whether I am accepting it, there's a part of me which says I'm better than other people. That is human nature, which should be tamed, should be educated. So we are educated because we think. So we are. And this is a sign of hope. The fact that we think we can change our thinking, our behavior, our personality, our character, become good people. We can avoid being bad people. And once that happens, then we begin to change certain things. We don't need the economy. We just need our land. Because you don't buy land with money. Scientists are now trying to create soil. But soil is less than land. But it's a good step in the right direction. If they can create land, so be it, but they will create land from land. Everything created technologically from land. That's why land is very important. The government took our land globally. Every country you go, you don't find land. In parts of Africa, you may still find land, but they are just there. Because you see, Africans are cut off. They have land, but they don't have a single penny to even use the land. Africa could feed the globe, but you see, somebody told them, don't grow food, don't grow energy, don't produce energy, don't build housing, don't promote healthcare. Let Africans die. We don't need them. They waste our spaces. I don't think you do. You are, even a human being, you're not a waste of space. Evil people say that. If you're sitting there, whether you're watching at my video or not, if you think humans are a waste of space, then you are actually a waste of space. You are evil. Whether you know it or not, you're evil. You should never think like that. And my invitation to evil people and good people is you need to give a rebirth, a cultural rebirth, by changing the way you think about people, valuing them. And that's it's not simplistic. It's simple, but it's so deep. It's almost impossible to achieve. But where there's a will, there's a way. And I believe going forward we will be able to do this. And change the way we think, change the way we believe, and change the way we behave, and start changing things around. Otherwise, humanity is going to go extinct. It's total lunacy to think you can just allow 90% of the population to die. 95%, 99%, 100%. Extinction, total extinction. Rich or poor, male or female, whoever you are, you're a human being, your life in your hand. Take responsibility for your life and move on with your life. And talk to me as well. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed. Share with your family and friends. Click the notification bell and wait for another video. We'll be producing videos. And leave a comment below. Let us join in the conversation. So we're looking at an example of financial innovation, which is actually very complex. Examples pertinent to these crises including the adjustable rate mortgage, the bundling of the subprime mortgages into mortgage-backed securities, MBS, collateralized debt obligation (CD) or collateralized debt obligation (CD) or for sale to investors, a type of securitization and a form of credit insurance called credit default swap (CDS). So this is when innovation becomes complex, extremely complex. So we're looking at examples pertinent to this crisis, including something called adjustable rate mortgage. When you adjust mortgage, it means it's not fixed. You move with the wave. That's what innovation is. You're creative. You become creative and flexible. It's like shooting a moving target. So if you're actually responsible for producing adjustable rate mortgages, so when there's a rate of mortgage, you adjust it. So it is flexible. It produces a type of dynamism in mortgage adjustable rate mortgage. When you talk about rate, you probably talk about the cost of mortgage, which also relates to the value of the product. Because what costs you actually benefits somebody else. If a mortgage rate is a cost to you as a borrower. You see, it's a mortgagee or something, like somebody who gets a mortgage. If it is expensive, the cost of mortgage is actually the wealth of the lender. The cost of mortgage to the borrower is the wealth or the gain of the lender. And that's how it works. So if it is adjustable, it means you can go up, down, medium. That is part of the this kind of product. Second one is the bundling of subprime mortgage. If you bundle something, you bring them together. Just bring different types and then put them together. Bring them, like it's a bit like consolidating debt. If you have 5 different debts, if you have 10 debts, you bundle them together, you consolidate them, bring them together into one debt. So I think when you talk of bundling of subprime mortgages into mortgage-backed securities, subprime mortgage at default, its very nature is actually, you could say, a shadow mortgage, because it's almost worthless, because you're lending to somebody on low income. You're lending this mortgage to somebody on low income. Unless you lend this mortgage to somebody on low income, probably as a risk assessor that they're not going to pay. They're not going to pay this mortgage, this debt. Because what mortgage is? It's a product. Is a credit product. Credit simply means debt. Somebody lends and another person borrows. So this product actually is toxic. It's fake. It's actually next to no value in terms of the risk, in terms of if you want to put authentication to it, you will probably score 0. And the subprime, which is the opposite of prime. If something, if you live in Britain, there's somebody called Prime Minister. He's a minister at a prime level. You see, he comes at a premium. He is so posh as a minister. So he's is the minister of all ministers. Is prime. His prime is really, really valuable. I mean, this status is so high, he has a lot of power. So quality product is prime product. If it is subprime, it means it's substandard. It's low quality product. So when you talk about subprime mortgage, it's a kind of credit which is actually very low in value. And it's almost worthless. You see, every type of product is of low quality, and the value is actually very, very negligible. And these are the kind of products subprime mortgages were targeting people of low income, poor people who needed housing in America, who are actually hoodwinked by the government and the financial instrumentators in the city of America, in the Wall Street, whatever you call it. And this actually is part of the features of these products, financial products. And this is also what it looks like to be innovatively financial or financial. And so you actually you bundle the subprime mortgage into, I mean, if you put them together, the bigger the better. Or presumably, if you put 10,000 worthless or next to worthless products, if you put 10,000 together, you bundle them together next to no value product, they increase in value because of number. There is value in number. This is their argument. This is what innovation is, and also it actually encompasses the level of complexity with the product, this credit product for housing, for property, for housing, for the housing market. So what you now do, you bundle them into mortgage-backed securities. So when you mortgage-backed securities, we talk about securities which actually guarantees. So these guarantees are actually backing these mortgages which are being bundled together. The subprime mortgages bundled together into a type of mortgage which is backed by securities. So people can now they can now buy this. They can put guarantees. So they can now back it up so that people can borrow. People, because it has value now from subprime to something not prime necessarily, but it's a proper mortgage now where people can back it. They can provide security for it. Security is what you give in case. It's like a backup plan when the credit system goes wrong. When somebody doesn't pay back, then somebody has already, like if you want a car, somebody is going to buy a car, somebody will ask if you have a property. If you own a property, you put it as a security. So security is a value, normally assets, wealth, which you actually present to defend a credit product, a credit financial product. So when these are called MBS, security mortgage-backed security, mortgage-backed securities, or collateralized debt. Collateralized come from the word collateral. Collateral is actually also security, because this is like collateral damage. You give up something to achieve something. Because if you collateralize something, you collateralize a debt. You collateralize a debt, which means debt obligation. You actually validate it by putting your life on the line. So these are actually now situations where we talk about debt, we talk about defending those debts by something like collateralization. collateralizing debt obligation, CDO. Then these produce integrity. These products now produce integrity, so you sell it to investors. As you sell it to investors, then that is how you have been innovative in an extremely complex situation to produce a product which is now gaining value in the market environment, in the marketplace. So you also talk about so this is a type of securitization. So when we talk about securitization, a type of securitization, I like a type of securitization. So you securitize this product by something like collateralization of such a product, which is actually debt obligation, and by bundling them together, bundling subprime mortgages into mortgage-backed securities. We talk about the same thing in different ways, which in an attempt to make sense of what is really complicated. And then another thing you look at when these features, another feature of this kind of product, you're looking at a form of credit insurance called credit default swap. Insurance means it's a guarantee. So when you swap something, you give one in exchange for another. Probably it means you give something which is subprime. We are embarking this thing, credit insurance. You produce this credit insurance situation by operating something called CDS, credit default swap. Defaulting on credit means people don't pay. So you buy bad debt. You take risk. You swap it for yourself, your value. You are the authenticator of what is otherwise, a really dangerous situation, very risky situation. Default means credit default. It means a bad debt, because the debt which is actually predictably insurance, you're insuring risks. So these are extremely risky credit products, and you almost certainly know that it's not going to be paid back. That's what default means, defaulting, not paying it back. And for a lender, that is a very risky predicament. And if you provide an insurance by things like collateralization, providing security, and securitization, you do that kind of thing, that provides a credit security, which is called credit default swap. You swap what is rotten with your life, financial life. So like committing suicide, like living dangerously, like something called death wish in terms of financial templates and financial estates and financial environment. So the usage of these products expanded dramatically in the years leading up to the crisis. So these are the kind of products we're talking about. They are bad debts made to look good, and these types of products, these are actually empty products. They're shadow products. They are the product of imagination, of creativity, of innovation, through complex processes to make things look as if they are, even if they are not. That is what essentially that's what it is. The uses of these products expanded dramatically in the years leading up to the crisis. These products vary in complexity and the ease with which they can be valued on books of financial institutions. CD all insurance, credit default. Let me just get these things in my head once and for all. CDO, collateralized debt obligation. Collateralized debt obligation, CDO, collateralized debt obligation in insurance issuance grew from collateralized debt obligation issuance grew from an estimated 20 billion US dollars in Q1 2004 to its peak of over 180 billion US dollar per quarter. The first quarter Q1 2007, then declined back under $20 billion by Q1 2008. So these were actually given issuing, which means you're selling it. Leave a comment below if you think issuing anything, selling this product. So you actually make an offer, and if somebody accepts it, then it's traded. That product is traded. Further, the credit quality of CDOs declined from 2000 to 2007 as the level of subprime and other non-prime mortgage debt increased from 5% to 36% of collateralized debt obligation. CDO. As described in the section on subprime lending, the CDS and portfolio of CDS called synthetic CDO enable a theoretically infinite amount to be wagered on the finite value of housing loans outstanding, provided that buyers and sellers of the derivatives could be found. So, as described in the section on subprime lending, the collateralized CDS, what is it? I need to call them by their name. Credit default swap and CDS, CDO, CDS is credit default swap. You call them by their name rather than getting lost in translation. So, further, the credit quality of collateralized default debt obligation declined from 2000 to 2007 as the level of subprime and other non-prime mortgage debt increased from 5% to 36% of collateralized debt obligation. As described in the section on subprime lending, the credit default swap and CDS and a portfolio of credit default swap. Portfolio simply means a collection of something of the credit default swap called synthetic credit collateralized default debt obligation. Collateralized debt obligation enables a theoretically infinite amount to be wagered on the finite value of housing loans outstanding, provided that buyers and sellers of the derivatives could be found. So when we talk about credit default swap being synthesized, it's actually, when you talk about portfolio are actually individual units being bundled together. It's called portfolio. That's a list of different CDS, credit default swap, which are actually collected together and then they are made into portfolio. And and they are called synthetics, credit default, collateralized debt obligation, CDO. Now, when you put CDOs together, you produce synthetic or credit default form. They are quite so. Yeah, and these were enabled. These products were enabled. These processes, these mechanisms are enabled. It actually, this state of affair enabled a theoretically infinite amount to be wagered on the finite value of housing loans. So when something is finite, it means it's not opposite of infinite. So like if you're producing theories, it can be endless because it involves innovation, it involves creativity. It's just going on and on and on. It's like unending because it's like you're being creative with life. But when you come so theoretically it is infinite. It's an infinite amount of product or financial product to be weighted on the finite value. So if you weight something, you have to put it into, you have to fix it, you have to really put something which is infinite and fix it inside something which is finite. This is the real world. The real world, which is finite value of housing loans outstanding. When loans are outstanding, which means these loans have been given, and maybe they are outstanding in the sense that they are there in terms of availability to be issued to debtors or to borrowers. And this is the real world now, which is the fantasy world, which is actually what innovation is. Doing something. Innovation means doing something and never before tried. So we don't talk about innovative. You are actually giving birth to a system which have never been tested before. It's new. So that's the product of innovative productivity. And that's what happened actually. They were gambling with our money. Or is it our money or their money, which is actually our money, which we don't have, which they are. It's called taxpayers' money. Except that some taxpayers are more of taxpayers than others. In the sense, the literal sense, the taxpayers who pay taxes and get nothing from paying taxes. And there are taxpayers who pay taxes or don't pay taxes through tax avoidance scheme. They get everything. Winner takes all. In the marketplace, in the jungle, winner takes all. And winning is actually the more you have, the more you get. The richer you are, the wealthier you get. So if you have something, you get more. If you have nothing, you get nothing. This is what capitalism looks like, the market economic system. And that's what we are facing. If you're poor, you think you're going to get anything. Think again. So the best approach is to try to get out of poverty if you want to survive. Because you take responsibility for your life. This is why I'm talking about this. And the more I talk about it, the more I'm persuaded I'm doing the right thing. And I'll be talking about it. A lot of people are actually watching my video, and they talk to me. I talked to a gentleman this afternoon. It was very encouraging. We are very small. We're very small as the channel, and it seems like forever. because we need to grow. Because if we are more, the more the merrier. Because if there are more people on this channel, then we begin to get more feedback. Now it's like I'm talking to myself, which is nice. The few who are watching, supporting this program, I think it's really important because I'm telling the truth. I'm telling the truth while looking at some of the most complex scenarios ever. So, provided that buyers and sellers of the derivatives to be found. So, what we'll talk about actually in terms of financial products, derivatives. That's what the meaning of derivatives, which means you take something which is non-existent and become innovative to put value in it. You add value into something which was almost valueless in terms of credit product. Something almost valueless, subprime mortgage, and you make it something more attractive, which is more mortgageable. And this is actually what derivatives mean. You derive value from nothing. Derivative. So buyers and sellers are at the end of all these mechanisms. So if you get something of value, then you think constantly of getting buyers, sellers and buyers. Now sellers are actually people like underwriters who look at credit, who assess credit and sell it to buyers. Buyers are actually mortgage borrower, which are in this situation. We are trying to sell it to people who are poor in America. People who are not educated, who are, have low level of education. But in modern society, the less educated, the poorer you are, and the more disadvantaged, the weaker you are. And in the jungle or the market, the more you are likely to die. People will actually eat you alive because they are like predators. The marketplace is like like a jungle where predators actually prey on prey from the weak. And this is exactly what we produce in practice. In practical society, we produce the jungle-like marketized environment to ravage the poor. Because these poor people in America, I don't know how the story ended, man. Really bad, in a bad way. Because the richer you are, the richer you're going to get, the more powerful, the more you get everything. Winner takes all. No, winner takes all. And loser lose everything. That's what happened under these circumstances. That's what's now happening now with the cost of living crisis. And you think somebody is going to produce sensibility and say, we need to help these people. No, help is not coming, especially from the government. You are responsible for helping yourself. This is what I'm saying because this is what I have seen. And I want to say this. Some people can believe me or not. Believe what you want to believe. But if there was help, how comes you didn't get it? How comes even when you got help from the government, why are you still living in poverty? Why are you still suffering? Because it wasn't help. I mean, if you give something too little, too late, then what is that? It's just a rubber stamp. It's a pretense because the intention is actually not to help anyone. They help you to shame and bully and abuse you. And because you have only one choice, to accept whatever is given to you. It's like living off what falls from the table of multimillionaires. You're a beggar, you are like a scrounger. You're moving from town to town, village to village, looking for what falls out of the table of the super rich. That is what help the government is pretending to give you. So forget about help. If you can get something, get it. Don't get me wrong. But I want you to get government help, knowing that the government is helping you by accident. You see, in the process of taking money from the poor to the rich, some fragments of those help falls to the ground, and that's what we collect. Be a good collector of, if there is benefit, be a collector of it. I mean, be diligent. If you are given a really complicated application form, fill it out. And insist, don't give up, insist, because that is what falls to the ground. It is for your survival. You never know. You never know what tomorrow may bring. The situation today may be hopeless. Some people are committing suicide now because of the dire strait they find themselves in. They believed in the government. And now they wake up one morning to the real world that they are on their own. Some people have been working because the government has been defending employment. And that's the only reason people have been working. Because of the public sector. Producing laws, producing employment environment which favor people who need help. That is their own argument. But now people are losing their jobs. And because we are divided, we are individuals. We live on our own. My neighbor can lose their lives. I will not even know. Because see, we are divided. We are culturally toxic. We are culturally suicidal. Because how can I stay in this place and my neighbor next door? I haven't seen all my neighbors, the closest to me. I haven't seen them in weeks, in months. Sometimes I hear the door opening and closing. I don't even bother to check on them. They don't bother to check on them. If I don't check on my neighbors, because I'm talking on this video now, if I don't check on my neighbors, we are very short, we are very small street, so there aren't many property here. And if I decide to, if I go knocking on their doors and I keep knocking on their door and saying, I haven't seen you for a long time. I want to check. Some of them might even say, who are you? So I live next door. I think, like that fake sure, I think that's something I should consider doing these days. And I may get into trouble. Somebody may turn around and say, we don't like strangers knocking at our doors. They call you stranger. If you're humans. Because they think people who call it themselves strangers, they think they are really cool. Okay, if you are cool, then why are you now suffering the cost of living crisis? Because you thought the government was going to be your dad, your mom, your nanny, but the Conservative, especially the Conservative Party in the UK, have said they don't like nanny state. And they probably have a point. They don't want nanny state. Nanny means babysitter. They're calling British people babies. If you need help, if you're poor, you're a baby. I know they're wrong. I mean, if we are babies, we are no more babies than they are. If they were adults, they would be creating a lot of financial crisis, such as they did in America. They wouldn't be responsible for the cost of living crisis if they were adults. If poor people in this country are babies, then we are as much of babies as they are. Only worse is that they are in power, they assume the responsibility of adults when they are actually infants. And that's why there's a problem. If they were really men and women at Westminster in Britain or in the White House in America, if they were really adult men and women, there won't be any poverty in the world. Because they are children, they are culturally inferior in as much as we are. So are they. And they have no right to insult us. And we don't have no right to insult them back. Because we are children, yes, because we need We stop calling people strangers. We change the way we think. We find our life. We find our people. I'm almost composing a song. Because I've been saying this over and over. Because it's really critical, in my opinion. If you comment below, if you think whatever you think, let us keep talking. We have the capacity to talk. That's all we can do. I mean, if you have something, use it. If you have the power to speak, use it. Use your power to speak. Go to the park. The weather is still good. Talk to yourself. If you are alone, if you find somebody in the park, talk to them. If they seem to be interested, they talk to you, back to you. If they are not, just move on. If you insist on talking in the park, if you go to the park or on the street, or you go to the neighbors, your neighbors, you can talk to somebody and they don't seem to be interested to talk to you. If you insist, then you're going to get into, you're looking for trouble. Somebody is not interested, just move on. So somewhere, somehow, there's somebody there who will be interested in speaking to you. And then you begin to dispel the myth of a strange neighborhood. You begin to spell them because this is willful. We are actually shooting ourselves on the foot by calling each other. I mean, you possess what you declare. You possess what you declare. If you keep calling other people strangers in your head and actually using your lips to actually pronounce, I don't talk to strangers, right? We have to change because we are now on our own. The government has left. It's like your parents, your child waking up one morning and both your parents are gone. You go to the fridge, there's no food, there's no energy, and it's in the middle of winter, it's freezing. Probably you don't have clothing. Your shoes, all your clothes have disappeared. You're probably standing there naked, not knowing you don't have any drinking water. You have nothing to wear. There is no telephone in the house. The streets are empty. I mean, you're probably wearing something you can't walk on. You can't even walk in onto the street because it's cold, and you're probably wearing your night wears or your night wears. And you are in a terrible situation. You don't know where your parents are gone, and then you begin to think that's what the government has bailed out on the British people, on the American people, on African people, the governments in Africa. They're bailed out. You're on your own. I'm challenging you that you can make it. If you change the way you think. It's like we talk about innovation in financial productivity, if you like. Financial production. We talk about innovation. You have to be innovative as they are, so we can also learn from that. Innovating. Out of nothing, you can produce something. Out of nothing, you can produce, because that's not exactly what they do with the credit product. To run the credit economy, they create billions and trillions out of zero, out of nothing. And that's what the credit system looks like, and that is what it means to be financially productive, innovative. Like it happened in America, creating something new, creating something out of nothing. You can be a person, if you are a nobody, you can be culturally content, culturally fulfilled, culturally, dynamic. Because you change the way you think. You can produce a human being from somebody who is at the point of death, culturally at least. This is where we are. We were a country at one point. Now we are individuals, we are families. Our families actually falling apart. So effectively, we're going to be individuals. And we have to work with what we have got from where we are and rebuild our lives as individuals. And hopefully, we meet like-minded individuals to form communities. Communities including families, society, and communities, as you know, in community, and take it from there. And so we're about to finish this process. We are well into the program. It's amazing how time flies. So you know, if you find a seller for this product, then you're doing well for yourself, and the rest is history. Somebody's giving an example of this situation. So for example, buying a CDS to ensure a CDO ended up giving up the seller, the same risk as if they own the CDO, when those CDOs became worthless. So it's the same with what I'm saying. If, for example, you buy a CDO, credit default swap, which is a product, credit product, to ensure collateralized default debt obligation. Buying a CDS to ensure CDO ended up giving. But if you're somebody buying a CDS to ensure, so CDS is an insurance of CDO. You know, credit default swap is an insurance because giving something to for something, swapping something, giving something for something. A credit default swap, you give it, it's an insurance of a CDO, collateralized default debt obligation, and you end up giving the seller the same risk. You talk about risk, giving risk. You're selling risk to people. You're selling like you're giving poison. You're selling poison for money, and you know the financial instrumentators actually buy poison. This same poison they trade in poison, risk is poison. And as if all the CDOs, you know, the collateralized debt obligation, you know, when those collateralized debt obligation became worthless, and back to square one type of situation. So we look at the diagrams, look at this boom in innovative financial products went hand in hand with more complexity. So we, at this stage, if we're still watching, then we probably are familiar with how complex this product is. It multiplied the number of factors connected to a single mortgage, including mortgage brokers, specialized originators, the scrutinizers and their due diligence firms, managing agents and trading desks, and finally investors, insurances, and providers of repo funding. With increasing distance from the underlying asset, these actors relied more and more on indirect information, including FICO scores on creditworthiness, appraisals, and due diligence checks by third-party organizations, and most importantly, the computer models of rating agencies and risk management tests. Instead of spreading risks, this provided ground for fraudulent acts, misadjustment, and finally market collapse. Economists have studied the crisis as an instance of cascade in financial networks where institutions' instability destabilize other institutions and lead to knock-on effects. Martin Wolf, chief economist commentator at the Financial Times, wrote in June 2009 that certain financial innovations enable firms to circumvent regulations such as off-balance sheet financing that affect the leverage or capital cushion reported by major banks, stating an enormous part of what banks did in early part of this decade the off-balance sheet vehicles, the derivatives, and the shadow banking system itself was to find a way around regulation. So they were not actually obeying the law. They were actually evading the law as such. And thank you for watching this video. This is some of the information I'm looking through to actually emphasize the state of affairs we have, and what we have actually is a situation where there is a lot of risk involved, and there is a lot of innovation, there's a lot of complexity. Life is complex, and so we need to be innovative, we need to be risk takers, and put emphasis, a lot of emphasis on our culture, because we can be rich. We have seen from the multi-billionaires and multi-millionaires in the world that if they are culturally depraved, they are going to use wealth as a weapon of mass destruction. Weapon of mass destruction is now happening with money and wealth, because the people owning money are not actually qualified to own it culturally. They have to be good people. Good people means you value human life, you prioritize human life, and that's the essence of life. We live today, we know not what tomorrow is. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, support it in whatever way you can, share with family and friends, and leave a comment below. Hit that notification bell, click notification bell so that